Hi, and thanks for tuning in to Dirtbike's off-road video series. Today we have two new two-strokes that you probably haven't seen before. These are the Rieju Rangers, which represent a new direction in off-road bikes that any two-stroke rider will love. Up front, we'll tell you why we're so excited about these bikes. It's the price. They have manufacturer's suggested retail prices in the mid $8,000 range. Rieju is a small company in Figueres, Spain that has been making small displacement street bikes for the European market for over 70 years. When KTM took control of the GasGas factory in nearby Girona, Rieju struck an agreement to acquire all the tooling and inventory for the previously existing GasGas line of two-strokes. Rieju has big plans for increasing production and is currently building a new factory. For now, the products formerly known as GasGas are still produced in Girona. Presumably, there's some involvement from KTM management there, as they have controlling interest in that facility. Soon, the production will be moved to the new factory under Rieju ownership. Rieju's hard enduro line has 3 levels. The MR Pro bikes are top of the food chain. The racing models are the standard editions, and the Rangers are more price-oriented. We have both the Ranger 200 and the Ranger 300, which sell for $85.99 and $87.99, respectively. Despite their comparatively low prices, they aren't budget bikes at all. The fit and finish are excellent, and all the parts are top quality. The fork and shock are KYB, the hydraulic clutch is Magura, the carburetor is Keihin, and the reed is Moto Tassinari. They have electric starters and kick starters. The brakes might be among the few real concessions to price. They are a mix of different Spanish components, including BrakeTech, J-Juan, and AJP. Also, the bars and rims are not name brand items. The Rangers aren't designed to be race bikes. They are aimed more at trail riding and even entry-level riders. To make the power delivery more friendly, the expansion chambers have long head pipes and the carburetors are 36 millimeters. The Rieju engineers also brought down the seat height by almost 2 inches compared to its other bikes. They did this by reducing the suspension travel and using a thinner seat. You can bring the seat height down even lower by adjusting the linkage, which has a concentric lobe embedded in the dog bone. Most of the engineering is familiar to anyone who has followed GasGas motorcycles prior to 2018. There are only a few differences. One is that the electric starter is now in an oil bath, which should result in increased reliability. There are very few mechanical differences between the 200 and the 300. Unlike most 200s, which have historically been made from 125s, Rieju's is a downsized 300. Externally, the two motors look identical, but the 200's bore and stroke is 62.5 by 65 millimeters, whereas the 300 is 72 by 72. Correspondingly, the 200 is only a little lighter than the 300. On our scale, the 200 is 237.9 pounds without fuel, and the 300 is 239.6. If you know the traditional traits of a modern two-stroke off-road bike, then you already know a little about the Rangers. Just multiply everything times 2. Where a typical 300 two-stroke is torquey, the Ranger 300 is very torquey. Where a typical 200 is difficult to stall, a Ranger is almost impossible to stall. On the flip side, where most two-strokes go a little flat on top, a Ranger is completely dead at high RPM. Both the 200 and the 300 motors are tuned like trials bikes. They both are more agile than four-strokes and feel much lighter than the scale reads. What's really interesting about the 200 is that it feels much lighter than the 300. We've seen this before. It turns out that the sensation of weight is produced as much by motor characteristics as by actual poundage. And the power produced by the 200 isn't that much less, at least down low. In fact, contrary to what you might think, the 200 works even better at low revs than the 300. It's smoother and pulls almost as well. The 300 has more power in the middle and is more capable in sand and on hills. Carburation is perfectly clean on both bikes. In really confined areas, the Rangers give away nothing to more conventional two-strokes like KTM and Beta. As you might expect, the power is too flat on top for more wide open spaces. There you might also notice that both engines vibrate a little more than two-stroke motors that have counterbalancers. Likewise, the suspension is super soft on both bikes, clearly made for low speeds and tight terrain. The shock springs are so light that the bikes will barely stand upright on their side stands. This makes the seat height even less intimidating than the specs indicate. The fork is an open cartridge KYB, which is older technology, but perfectly suitable for this type of application. At slower speeds, you don't feel rocks, roots, or hard edges. Whoops are another matter. The bikes can be bottomed at will. That's appropriate for the intended mission of the Ranger line, which is tight riding. These are bikes for racing, play racing, or anything that incorporates full throttle and hard acceleration. They are bikes for conquering challenges. For beginners, those challenges might be gentle two-trackers through the woods. For experienced riders, they might be massive logs or vertical rock faces. The Rieju Rangers exist in a very narrow corridor between beginners and experts. Very few bikes can walk that line. For now, Rieju isn't a household name, but the two-stroke underground has a growing voice, and this is exactly what it's calling for. For more off-road bikes, check out these videos. Then go to dirtbikemagazine.com for more details. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And please click on the bell to be notified when we have something else for you. Thanks for watching.